This is Dianne, and I am here to tell you all we need to do is survive tonight.
And this is Marnell, and I thought we were having a moment, you little a-hole.
And obviously this is Biters, and we are podcasting the mid-season finale, Season 8, Episode 8, How It's Gotta Be.
How It's Gotta Be. Yeah. This is, it's rough, but I feel like it should be more rough. It's not like Glenn rough.
It's not Glenn rough, but I'm pretty depressed.
Yeah, can we really say that it was entirely unexpected, given the given? I mean, there's been a lot.
There have been a lot of leaks, and Thomas O'Mara was talking to us about the haircut and talking to us about some stuff that Chandler Riggs' dad had said quite a while ago on social media.
Right.
But I kind of blew it off. I mean, I was kind of like, oh, well, yeah,
So here's the thing is I figured it was going to be kind of a Heath or Morgan thing where they didn't kill him. He was just going to take a few years off to go to school or do whatever. And they were going to bring him back because it's such a huge departure that I figured he wasn't going to die. He was just going to leave the show. He was either going to get separated from the group or leave the group voluntarily or have to leave the group or something. But what a way to go.
Well, so here's the thing in the comics, because I'm certainly not spoiling anything now.
No, it was talking.
He goes to Hilltop for a while.
Yeah.
So that would have been a way to at least have a whole lot less of Carl on the show if Chandler Riggs had been taking time off for school. But,
right.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, even though it was pretty well telegraphed, I certainly didn't expect it. I was very surprised. I expected we were going to lose Ezekiel.
Yes, I did too.
And we may still, but I expected that was going to be the mid-season finale shocker.
And of course, Carl isn't dead yet.
But Gimple pretty much confirmed that it's going to trend out the way, and everything that's been in the news and on social media in the last 24 hours, including what Chandler Riggs has had to say, has confirmed that this is it.
Right, but what I'm saying is I'm hoping that he's not just going to down in the sewer and die and have to have his dad, stab his zombie head.
It sounds like there's a lot of interaction and kind of a lot of closure in the mid-season opener. So
yeah, I'm really hoping that he goes out in a big heroic way, basically sacrificing himself, which is what he originally wanted to do in the show, sacrificing himself to Negan to save Alexandria. But
and there are some who argue that he did go out in a big way anyway. He sacrificed himself for Sadiq, and he got all of the Alexandrians to safety. And we are way down the road in Rotting Potpourri already. So I am going to back you up.
Deal.
Huh?
It's such a huge deal.
It's a giant deal. By the way, spoilers if anybody hasn't watched the episode yet.
If you haven't watched the episode, you shouldn't be listening to the show.
I agree. Okay. So, what'd you rate it?
I rated it a 4.1 bites to the torso.
So we were pretty close. I haven't rated much very high this season, and I rated it 4 out of 5 huge cans of chocolate pudding. Because I felt like going a little old school.
Pudding.
Aww. I'm really sad.
Yeah, I really am too. I'm really shocked. I think I'm more shocked than sad because he's not actually dead, in the show at this point. So, I can't really be sad because we don't have that closure yet.
He's Schrodinger's Carl. He's dead but not dead. Depends on whether you open the box or not.
Exactly. That's funny.
Go ahead.
So, no, what was our numbers and everything?
So our numbers for last week, it was actually a season low for The Walking Dead. So it was 7.47 million on the same day. And same day views, it was second to Monday Night Football, or for the week rather, just when they looked at same day views, it was second to Monday Night Football. And then when we looked at Live Plus 3, it was 10.7 million. And it was
wouldn't that
in
be
first
Sunday Night
place.
Football?
No. So if you look at the whole week,
Okay.
yeah, they like rate the top ones for the week, and Monday Night Football was actually on top, and Walking Dead was second.
Yeah, so I don't know. We don't follow sports ball, but I do know that last night when this was actually airing live, I was actually watching a live theater showing of Steel Magnolias.
Oh, I was like, you were watching sports ball last night?
No, but we had gotten to the stage theater early, and there's a little sports pub across the street, and we went and had a beer there before we went to the show, and sports ball was on. So
okay, so you didn't get spoiled.
Right. It was Seahawks versus somebody, I don't know, but the only reason why, so Alaska does not have sporting teams, and so the only reason why I know it's Seahawks is because just about everyone who's a football fan is in Alaska is a Seahawks fan usually, and so my Facebook feed was just going up because it was the fourth quarter and if you watched the game, what happened. A whole bunch of Seahawks got ejected, and it was a really close game, and yeah, everyone was screaming at the refs. And so, yeah, I know that sports ball was up against The Walking Dead for the mid-season finale. So we'll see how that affects the ratings for this week's.
It sounds like the sports ball was actually pretty exciting last night.
I
do got kicked out.
I do have to admit, it is exciting. It's something that I don't understand. And people have tried to explain it to me because they're like, oh, no, it's simple. And they try to, and I'm like, well, what if this happens? Oh, well, that rule. And I'm like, no, it's not that simple. Like, just calm down. So I wouldn't say dislike of sports ball comes from just my lack of knowledge of it. So I don't knock it or anything. Same goes with baseball and soccer and football and hockey and all of those things. So I can bowl. That's pretty much it. But I this day I don't know how to keep score. So if you bowl with me, you can totally cheat.
Oh my God, that is so bad. And now we know. Now we know what your kryptonite is.
Maths, I'm not an accountant or anything.
Maths and sports balls.
Maths, balls.
Well, I'm going to breeze through the actor or the writer, director, that kind of stuff, because the director was Michael Satrazemis, who's been with the series for a really long time. We both know that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to breeze through it, but I'm not going to articulate it very well. The writers were Angela Kang and David Leslie Johnson, and they've been in quite a number of the episodes for this first half of season 8. Okay. And Angela Kang, of course, has been with the series for a long time.
And that's where we think we get the A from.
Right. And I thought for our featured cast member, we could do Carl Funk, who was Neil.
You're kidding, right?
You're right. I was totally trying to punk you.
You totally got me, because I was like, I don't know anything about that dude.
That was the dude who got shot in the back of the car that Jesus and Maggie were in.
I know. That was so awful. But I have to say, if it was between Neil and Jerry, bye, Neil.
Yeah, no doubt. Bye.
Sorry.
No. So we actually decided that we were going to do Chandler Riggs, which seemed appropriate. But your silence was golden for just a moment there. I wasn't sure I was going to get you.
You totally got me on that one. That was good.
So I'm going to start out. If we did Chandler Riggs a long time ago, I can't remember, but he's actually an Atlanta, Georgia native, which I had forgotten or didn't realize.
Right.
And he was born on June 27th, 1999, so that makes him 18, a whopping 18. Yep. We've had him on our screens for 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy.
Almost half his life. I mean, he has grown up before our eyes. Yeah. So if we've done Chandler Riggs before, he's been doing a lot since then, is going to be doing a lot from now on. The kid's got a pretty full life, he is very active with the Walking Dead fan community, so I expect you'll probably continue to see him at cons. But he really enjoys acting, and he really enjoys the Walking Dead fan base. He said that he and his dad, he tried out for this part, and they were like, the show The Walking Dead, that's not going to go anywhere. A zombie show,
right?
Like, who's going to watch that? So he never ever expected this, and of course, no matter what he does from then on, he will always be part of this huge juggernaut that basically set his career in motion. He had done a little bit before then, but interestingly enough, he had got his first acting role at the age of 4, and he was in the chorus for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was his start.
Yes, and it was just a small community theater, like the one that I frequent. And after that, he got bigger and bigger parts at his church when they did plays. And so that's what got him in with, that's where he got bit by the acting bug. And
no pun intended, and no, do you think there's been enough time? Sorry, you're fading out. Skype is not our friend tonight.
Yeah, apparently. So, so he kind of got the acting bug at the age of 4. But he is going to be going to college, as most people know. I think we've talked about that on the show.
Well, but I'm not sure how long he's putting it off. So I was telling you before we signed on tonight that I listened to Walker Stalker podcast last night, and they actually had about a 20-minute interview with Chandler Riggs at the end of the show that was taped during their con in New Jersey this weekend. So they actually were able to talk to him a little bit about his reaction over Carl's imminent demise. And it sounds like actually he has relocated to LA and is kind of pursuing the acting and music thing full time right now.
Huh.
So he's been accepted to Auburn University, but it sounds like he put it on hold, and I'm not sure when he's going to go back.
So his interests would be sociology and psychology. And I can totally see him, putting it off for a while, but I definitely think he'll go back. That seems to be his primary, interest educational wise. And, it's something, if you're interested in, you kind of continue on in it. So, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm not sure what we're going to see.
Right. So I think you said you posted to the Facebook page his music that just dropped for him.
So he's got a song that just released this week with a musician who goes by Lullaby. And the song is called Hold On, and I put a link on the Biters page. It's kind of techno. It's a little bit it's pretty soft. It kind of it's like a modern Brian Eno.
Okay.
And the woman who is singing has just a lovely voice, but it wasn't quite what I expected, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes musically.
Well, see, and I guess he's been DJing, and that's his DJ handle is DJ Eclipse.
And it sounds like he DJ'd the last Walker Stalker Con cruise.
Yes, the 2017 Walker Stalker Con cruise he DJ'd, so that would have been something very cool to experience. But yeah, so, the interviews and everything that we've, of course, seen with him, he's always been very well-spoken, very articulated, very, kind young man, all around good kid. So his favorite band, surprisingly, is 21 Pilots.
Oh, man, I feel really old. I don't know who they are. I'm embarrassed to say.
Well, we'll have to send Dianne some 21 Pilots music.
Oh, my God.
So his favorite movie, surprisingly, is 2014's Interstellar.
Although for a while it was The Mist. I saw that tonight, too. I was watching some stuff on YouTube, and that was the movie that Frank Darabont had directed. That was
Right.
That was the Stephen King movie that Sarah Wayne Callies and the guy who played Dale. That a bunch of people who were in Walking Dead were in that movie.
Right.
So, but now it's Interstellar, huh?
Right. On his IMDb page, it says The Mist. And as of 2016, the Salt Lake Comic-Con, he said he's seen Interstellar 9 times.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so he really loves the movie. And one of his favorite books, he listed a couple, but I had to look this one up. Looking for Alaska.
I've never heard of it.
Neither had I. And Alaska is actually the name of one of the characters in the book.
Huh.
Alaska, so I instantly became disinterested. He also loves Grace by Richard Paul Evans. It's a Christmas novel.
I can honestly say I have not read that.
Yeah, he's just a really interesting kid. His favorite moment on set, his favorite scene to film was season 4, episode 4. It was in the prison where some of the zombies who had built up on the fence pushed down the fence.
Oh, and he and Rick gunned down that horde of zombies?
Yes. So apparently in Georgia, there is some sort of funky law that says that no one under the age of 14 can use a gun on film or use a gun. I don't like. There's some weird gun law that relates to child acting or something weird in Georgia. But
I kind of vaguely remember this story, but only vaguely.
Right. So 14, and they filmed that episode, and he got to spray bullets out of he called it a machine gun. It wasn't. I'm sure it was a semi-auto rifle. I can't remember what it was, but. So he just got to spray a bunch of walkers with bullets and 14 years old on set, getting to do this for the first time. You should see this sheer joy on his face when he regales this tale. This was a couple of years later that he's telling this, and you can just tell it just like the feeling that it emotes in him. It just makes him giddy. It's so funny.
That's pretty cute.
But the hardest scene he had to film was when Lori died.
Yeah.
Of course. And he said he also had a really hard time with the scene where, same season where in the prison where you think that Rick dies and he's he just coming up and he kind of looks like he's reanimating. He's kind of woozy.
Oh, it's after the prison.
Oh, was it after?
Yeah, okay. It was in the house that the Claymores ultimately found them in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And he thinks he's going to have to kill his dad after just. So he said those were the 2 hardest scenes he had to film to date. It may have changed since then, but I can see that, being a 14, 15-year-old kid in these really heavy scenes, with these actors that have basically been your on-set parents for the last 4 years, so.
So one of the YouTube videos that I watched said that when he has to cry on set, he still brings up either images of Sarah Wayne Callies or John Barenthal. I'm sure I said that wrong, Thomas O'Mara.
Bernthal.
Thank you, Bernthal. Because he was really close to them and still really misses them.
Yeah. He said one of the funniest moments on set, because Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus are such pranksters.
Mm-hmm.
They found out that John Bernthal does not like crickets.
Does not like what?
And so,
sorry, you faded out again.
Crickets.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't like crickets. So what do? They fill his trailer with crickets.
Oh,
Live crickets.
Horrible.
Yeah, I guess it was pretty horrendous. Of course, it was funny for everybody else.
Sure.
So, he said that was one of the funniest moments on set. He was funny. He had a hard time because he's like, we really don't prank each other on sets, but yet you see all of these YouTube videos of Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln pranking each other all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like prank kings. So, yeah. So that's what I found out about Our Carl.
Well, let's see. I just have a little bit to add. He's got a movie in pre-production called Inherit the Viper, and it is a crime thriller about. Yeah, it's a crime thriller about Here we go again. I can't talk. Crime thriller about three siblings who are opiate dealers in Appalachia. And Josh Hartnett is one of the main actors in it as well.
So hence the mullet haircut.
Oh, that totally makes sense now.
Right? Yeah, he said he had to cut it for a role. And actually there's a YouTube video out there of a time lapse of him getting his hair cut. I had no idea cutting a mullet was that intricate.
Well, it probably is if you're talking a several $100 mullet on a movie star versus, kind of the mullets that you and I grew up with.
I can't imagine a several $100 mullet
on a movie star.
Yeah. That just kills me.
I think we'll talk a little bit later about his dad, so I'm not going to really bring him up, other than to say I found out today that he was Bill Murray's body double in Zombieland.
What?
Which I thought was super funny.
That is amazing.
There's a clip on YouTube that's something like 6 things you didn't know about Chandler Riggs, and that was one of them.
Oh, that's funny. See, now I got you doing research on YouTube.
Well, just not nearly as much as you, although I could hear you. I could just hear your wheels spinning when I said that we were going to do Neil, and you were like, I watched all that stuff on YouTube for what?
I was like, I am completely unprepared.
The only other thing I want to see is that we will have the only other thing I want to say really before we move on is we'll have one last chance to see Chandler on The Walking Dead because the mid-season premiere is February 18th of 2018, and that is his last episode.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. They were talking about it pretty extensively on Talking Dead last night.
I think IMDb has episode 8.9 listed February 11th.
Really? It said said February 18th on the stuff that I looked at today.
Okay. We'll see who's right.
Don't pay attention to us, biters. Don't get mad at us if you miss the mid-season premiere. Do your own research. This is not a documentary.
Well, usually it's on Valentine's Day, which I find awesome.
So will it be before or after this year?
Hopefully before, so we don't have to wait so long.
Right.
Good Lord, I could shave my eyebrows off and grow them the time it's going to take between now and the next half of the season.
Well, that will look fabulous with your Pollyanna McIntosh haircut.
Or I could learn a foreign language in that amount of time. Just that is a long time.
Kind of like the heapsters.
February. Yeah.
Foreign language.
I'll learn heapsters and shave my eyebrows off.
Different from picture. Different from picture looks then.
Oh, now I'm going to have to Photoshop what I look like with no eyebrows. I'm not posting that to the Biters page.
And the heapster haircut.
That should be a filter. An Instagram filter. Join Instagram just for that filter.
That's hilarious. Someone more tech savvy than we has to come up with that. All right. Well, let's get into the good, bad, and ugly.
All righty.
So tell me you're good.
I like where Maggie's going. She's going to a really dark place, and I like it.
Very cool.
When her and Jesus rolled up to that down tree and Jesus was like, oh, it happens naturally. I'm like, shut up, Jesus. I'm so sick of his stuff. He's just all of a sudden he's a pacifist. So when Maggie gets mad and she pulls that one guy out and shoots him in the head, and the message she writes on the box, and I like Take Charge Maggie. I really wonder if Glenn were alive, if
she be that person.
If she would be this person or if she would be different. And I really wonder what Glenn would say, knowing what Maggie's done. If Glenn were just off lost somewhere and came back and Maggie was this person, like how would he react to her, you know? And I don't know what makes me think of Glenn every time, you know, Maggie does something, but it's just, you know, his death affected her so much that she's changed so much. And like I said, I like where she's going. I like this take charge part of her. And, you know, it's so juxtaposed to pacifist Jesus. So yeah, I like her attitude.
I don't think she would be who she is now. I think she would, and I don't want to say living in Glenn's shadow because that's not fair to Glenn. I mean, we both really loved him as a character, but I think that she would just still be a very different, more passive person.
I have my, yeah, I have my husband. I'm pregnant. I don't need this drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let somebody else take charge. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm thinking that Hilltop's gonna save the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know who's gonna save the day right now. It's looking pretty grim, but I think Hilltop is in the strongest position. I agree.
Yeah, Hilltop's in the strongest position, and then we've got Morgan creeping around, maybe going to save Ezekiel, maybe going to avenge Ezekiel. I don't know, but yeah, we've still got some aces in the hole and a few people in sewers.
Well, my good was very much related to your good. So I really liked Lauren Cohen's acting in that arc, especially, and they brought it up on Talking Dead, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but it was my good moment too. Especially as she's walking away after she shoots Dean, just the multiple emotions that she goes through.
Yeah.
You know that she's not okay with it, but she's okay with it.
Yeah, I really love the you know, she told Simon that she wanted the box to bury Neil in, and then she uses the box for a message to the saviors, and I just love that you know, yeah.
Well, so my bad actually plays into this too, so I'm gonna go ahead and charge into the bad.
Go right ahead.
I actually think that her shooting a POW and sending his body back to the saviors as if it matters to them was kind of a fail or a bad. I don't really think the saviors care that much about individuals as individuals. So I'm not quite sure what she stands to gain from saying, we've got, 30 plus 38, I think, of your POWs left and you better stand down.
Okay, but they don't have very many quote unquote soldiers left. I think it's the workers that are fighting, and the workers were already very unhappy. And so to know that there are 38 of their friends in there, and that, Simon and Gavin and Negan are just going to be like, whatever. I really think that could turn a few people that are working for the saviors now. I think that could probably put a little bug in some of their brains, and they might not be so quick to jump in front of a bullet for the savior lieutenants from now on.
But I think the only person who has any power who might be affected is Gavin.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody else will be. I mean, I think Negan made a big deal about people being a resource when we saw that little bit of backstory for him, but not as individuals, not as people, more as bodies. And he sees that they're going to absorb Alexandria and the Hilltop and the kingdom, and they'll have more bodies.
Right. And so, I mean, Gavin he really did not want to be there. He did not want to be doing what he was doing.
He didn't, and part of me was like, just get over it, Gavin.
You made your bed, now you got to lie in it.
Totally.
But so, I mean, that could be part of their in, or, I mean, Eugene's done what Eugene's done on both sides of the issue. And unfortunately, Dwight's cover is going to be blown, but I don't know. There's just a lot going on. So yeah, I agree with you that, like, the higher ups are going to go, what's 38 POWs, but I think there's going to a lot of people being like, hey, that's my brother or my wife or my friend in there,
So I had not thought of it from that perspective, and I'm willing to give you a pass on that one, because that certainly is thinking it out more than I did, just in terms of thinking Negan's not going to care. You're
Yeah,
right. There are other people who may rebel in light of this.
Right. And I absolutely agree with you that, the lieutenants and Negan aren't going to care, but,
with the exception of Gavin, whose hands are going to be quite full here shortly.
Right. And Negan actually will probably take it, of course, as a challenge to authority. So, it's probably going to turn bad from that perspective, but what wouldn't, honestly?
All right, tell me your bad.
My bad was Enid shooting Grandma Oceansider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where to go with that. Like, I just, how do you come back from that? Like, what is going to happen? How is Oceanside going to join our fight now? And what's going to happen to Enid because of this? And, poor,
Sydney?
Is that her name?
Yeah, Sydney.
Yeah. No, it's Cindy.
No, I thought it was Sydney. I think you're right, though. I think it is Sydney. Ugh.
Cyndyie. And then that's her character name, and then her real name is Sydney with an S.
Ah, okay. Now I don't feel so bad.
So, I mean, Sydney lost her grandma, and
So I think the thing that might bias a little bit is that Aaron has those bad negotiating skills, bad as in badass, from working for an NGO. So hopefully he'll be able to fish it out.
Yeah, she shot so quickly.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
And is this maybe the way that they'll get rid of Enid?
Maybe.
I hope not.
I did not see it coming. I really thought that they were gonna bring some good booze to Oceanside and make everything all better and get Oceanside to join the fight, and now it's all screwed up, and I'm really upset about that.
And I wonder if they'll even deal with it in the mid-season premiere. It's 90 minutes, but there's so much to deal with just with losing Chandler Riggs, with losing Carl, that I don't know how much they'll have to deal with otherwise.
Exactly. And, I really still think that up until now, we have been day one of All Out War. Do you think we were 1 or 2 days?
2 days at most, and boy, doesn't Red-Eyed Rick make a lot more sense now?
Yeah. I mean, if they've been running for that long.
Well, but also just red-eyed and rattled because he's lost his kid.
His son. Yeah, and we all kind of thought it was going to be baby to go.
Judith, yeah.
Judith, yeah, because there were 2 gravestones. Remember, he was over 2 graves.
And I totally still thought that it was Abe and Glenn. I wasn't convinced that they were new graves.
Well, and there was something online that stated that they thought it was Abe and Glenn too, so that kind of got out there. But yeah, so I mean, if we have been 8 episodes for 1 day, we could be 8 more episodes for day 2 of All Out War. We could have Carl.
A little bit of angst over that.
Oh?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of angst on some of the feedback online last night. There was definitely they were not kind on Walker Stalker podcast. I was actually really surprised. They were pretty down on this season and pretty down on where things are going.
Well, comparatively, for me, it was a very meh first half of the season. And I think it's just because comparatively, we started out last season with, Glenn's horrible, untimely death. And then
Abe, let's not forget Abe.
I was going to say, and then Abe's, and, so much. I mean, everyone was down on last season because it was such a downer, but, it was really exciting and fast paced. And, this season has taken place over the course of a day, so
I'm going to go with Jason Kabasi's assessment. Jason was a guest on Walker Stalker last night as well, because he had been working at the con. It's been uneven. There have been some great moments, and there have been some really uneven moments.
Yeah.
But, I'm still not in the, I really hate this show that I used to love. I'm not there. I still love this show.
No. Yeah, I'm the same way. I would be watching whether I podcast about it or not.
Yes.
It's one of maybe 3 or 4 shows that I actually put my phone down for, and that's not just because I podcast about it. It's just because there's so much going on, and there's such small things that you can miss that, it's one of 3 or 4 shows that I put my phone down for. So that's saying a lot.
That said, I do have to say that there was still an element of, this was confusing. Some of the jumps were hard to follow, and it was it was not as tightly written as other episodes have been.
Right, and even in this episode, we saw them flash back, and Carl and Rick were on the road after he had just shot at Sadiq, and
Right.
Carl was making his big speech about hope, and you have to, do something instead of just hoping. And so, we had a little bit that was a little jarring, to, have them in their separate places, and then all of a sudden they're walking on the road again. I was like, okay, did the copy screw up? What's going on?
I think, they definitely had to set us up for the reveal at the end. I mean, that was all leading up to the reveal.
Oh, there was definitely a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, certainly you didn't necessarily see it as foreshadowing the first time you watched it, and then the second time through, it was like, oh, okay, that completely makes sense now.
And given all the scuttlebutt in real life, I kind of was looking for it, It just, they seem to be focusing a lot on Carl, and then, his letter to his dad, and it was like, yep, bye, Carl.
Oh.
So.
I'm still so sad.
He's not dead yet.
I know, Schrodinger's Carl.
So, does that mean if you watch the episode or you don't watch the episode?
If we watch the episode, he'll neither be dead or alive.
Yeah.
If we don't watch the episode, he's neither dead or alive.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not willing to give up the series for Carl's survival.
Nope. Neither.
Sorry, Chandler Riggs.
We're going to have to wait till February already, dude.
Right. All right, so tell me your...
my...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I have this thing where I hate the Bond villain that always has to explain their devious plan, and then slowly kill Bond, but walk away before he's actually dead. And when Laura shot Dwight in the arm and was, freaking out about him being the mole and everything, I'm like, why don't you just shoot him? He's I guess she was trying to get the other side to stop shooting, but they were gonna. They didn't care about Dwight. He could have, they just assumed he died than Laura. So that whole, she shot him in the, no, just shoot him in the head. Just be done with it. Quit. It's like Negan, quit monologuing and just kill them.
Don't you ever shut up? No.
That was a good line.
Yeah.
But it's something that takes me out of the moment, because I always flash back to that whole, do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. It takes me out of the moment. So I really didn't like that scene. I would have rather her shot and missed and him just turn around and shoot her. But of course she had to get away. But the whole confronting the bad guy and then having to hash out your feelings just drives me insane. Just shoot him.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I mean, there have been a lot of just shoot him moments in the last 2 seasons where it's yeah, I mean, that could have happened, but then we wouldn't progress in the series, so they can't do it.
And I really think that when Rick had Lucille and hit Negan in the chest with her, Rick paused. Negan said something don't touch Lucille or something like that, and Rick paused, and just smash his head in, you know? So in real life, that's what would happen, but then we wouldn't have the story that we have.
Then we wouldn't have the show. The show.
It just takes me out of the moment.
Well, I think that's pretty funny. The James Bond moment. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Hadn't quite thought of it from that point. I'll probably ruin all of my Walking Dead viewing from here on out.
You're going to think about that every time.
I will. I'll be like, ugh.
Just die! So what was your bad?
Well, my ugly, which of course was a good ugly.
I'm sorry, ugly, yeah.
Was just Carl. I mean, the huge departure from the comic book. You know, I don't really know where they're going to take things from here because, I mean, Carl does become such a significant, he becomes a hugely significant character in the comic book and is a really big part of one of the upcoming arcs. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. You know, I do think it's right that this show does have a life of its own, but we've been veering back toward the comic book so much that this was just a gigantic shocker. And
so I have two theories about Carl dying in the show and not in the comic books. Do you want me to say them now or do you want me to say them for Writing Potpourri?
It's up to you.
So, spoiler alert, if you have not gotten past All Out War in the comics, Negan doesn't die, and I think that's going to be part of the departure. I think Carl's going to take out Negan. Because I don't think we're going to see Negan as a prisoner on the show. I think it's not going to be feasible to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan on staff all the time. So I think Negan's got to die, and I think Carl's going to take him out. So that's theory one. Theory two is since we don't have a Daryl in the comic books, I think Daryl's going to...
Oh, that's a good theory.
Right. He'll take on a lot of the stories that Carl had.
That is a really good theory.
Yay, me.
Okay. I think that we're still headed toward Negan not dying, and I think it's all of Rick's "May my mercy prevail over my wrath" stuff. I don't know.
That's a good point.
But yours is a very good point too. I mean, I think that that could be part of the massive departure from the comic arc as well.
Yeah, and it's the whole feasibility of having Jeffrey Dean Morgan pop up every once in a while in a jail cell, Alexandria, it's just not feasible for the show. So I think that they're gonna have to kill Negan.
So the other thing that I was thinking about Carl's death is this must be the thing that just drives Morgan over the edge and out of the group. It's gonna be too much like losing Dwayne, and that's how his departure happens.
Oh, that's devastating. I hadn't thought of that.
I think that's gonna be the mechanism.
Yeah, after losing Benji and now Carl. Yeah.
I think it may push him back into the Morgan of Clear. I mean, we've seen him kind of edging in and out of that role anyway, and I think this is just going to be it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I read a really good thing online today that said there was a moment of kind of devastation when you could see on Rick when he was trying to radio the snipers at the Savior compound because Morgan was one of the snipers, and so now he thinks Morgan's dead. So I wonder if that'll go anywhere as far as like he'll keep thinking that he's dead or if they'll come together and then Morgan will leave.
I think they'll come together. I think there's going to be some kind of departure.
You think everyone's going to like Hilltop's going to rush? Because I mean, was it at the end of the episode or was it the kind of little reel for next February where Daryl says basically they're not gonna like us all together or something, or we're gonna bring hell down them when we're all back together or something.
I don't remember if he says that in this episode or in the reel. I think he says it in this episode.
Okay. Yeah, because they were talking about going to. Oh, I think it might have been the real, because I think they were talking about going back to Hilltop.
Ah, okay.
And Rosita's like, why? So yeah, yeah.
So,
Maybe everyone will meet up for all out war.
well, they'll have to, and I think, again, I think that somehow that will be the mechanism for Morgan's departure, and I think that we will get closure with Morgan and Rick.
Okay.
I hope I'm right. I hope it's not one of those and Morgan fades to black. And there we go. Bye. I hope it's not like that.
And then he pops up.
Right. Then he's in
Somehow.
Houston all of a sudden. So the other thing that I wanted to say about Chandler Riggs and his departure, and kind of as part of my ugly, was first, I mean, I did write Rick is going to have to learn to live for Rick. Because for the last 8 seasons, 7.5 seasons, it's been Rick living for Carl, for Lori, for Judith. And now Rick is finally going to have to live for Rick. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
You don't think he'll continue to live for Judith and Michonne?
Well, I think that Michonne is going to be an anchor for him, although I think the people who are speculating that she's going to take Carl's death really badly are right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think the people who have mentioned, oh yeah, but Judith is actually Shane's child. I think there's going to be some of that. I don't think Rick will ever let that on with Judith. I don't think he'll ever let her know that, but I think that there's going to be an element of the Grimes line is extinguished.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Okay, so then before we head into Rotting Potpourri, and maybe this is a halfway reasonable lead into Rotting Potpourri, so several people were like, oh my god, did you see what Chandler Riggs' dad did? So Phil Parrish sent us the link. Phil, hello.
Hello.
And Brian commented on it as well. And by the way, Brian was actually kind of hoping to be able to come on with us tonight, but the timing just didn't work out. So it sounds like we may get him back for a visit every now and then, but the timing just isn't quite right yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so apparently there was a Facebook comment that was put down and then deleted by Chandler Riggs' dad, William. Watching Gimple fire my son 2 weeks before his 18th birthday after telling him they wanted him for the next 3 years was disappointing. I never trusted Gimple or AMC, but Chandler did. I know how much it hurt him, but we absolutely do know how lucky we've been to be a part of it all and appreciate all of the love from fans all of these years. So,
Ouch.
I know.
That's quite the departure from #freedom. That he was feeding a year ago.
Right. And I was thinking about that too. So I think, I guess my advice to Chandler's dad would be the advice that's being given to anybody who is being contacted by the FBI right now in the current administration. Shut the hell up.
Stay off social media.
Right.
You don't have to live tweet your life.
Yeah. I do think it was really badly handled on his part. And Chandler Riggs did tweet something that was shared during Talking Dead, which was basically like, hey, everybody, all jokes aside, I'm doing fine, and I really appreciate all the love, and I'll talk to you soon. Yeah. So I would have to say that 18-year-old Chandler was much more gracious than his father apparently was, at least briefly.
Yeah, from the little bit that I've read online about his dad, and especially his social media habits, he doesn't seem like that
balanced.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And at this point, Chandler Riggs is 18 years old. He can do whatever he wants. Like, I'm sure, like, whatever money had to be held in trust for him is now his, and he can go live his life. He can be a DJ. He can go to college. He can continue acting. He can do whatever he wants, no matter what his dad says. So,
and I could definitely see family being hurt because this was a painful surprise for Chandler, and it sounds like it was very shocking to him as an actor that this was going to happen. But I think ultimately what you said about needing to air this in social media, not a great move.
Yeah, no, that's just not something that you put out for the masses. That's something you say to your friends at backyard barbecues and stuff. You gripe about, the guy who basically gave your kid a career, but you don't put it on social media.
Yeah, or, you say to Scott Gimple, to his face, Gimple badly done. But you don't necessarily have to share that on Facebook.
Yeah, porch dick. Gimple.
It was really funny. So Walker Stalker also interviewed Greg Nicotero at the opening of their show last night, and they were like, "We're gonna lobby for you to be the showrunner," and he was like, "No."
You know, not a job that I would want.
Right? No, let's leave Greg where he is.
Yeah, Nicotero seems to have a pretty cool gig going. So,
and oh my God, did you see Thomas O'Mara's picture from New York, New Jersey? Greg Nicotero's hair is practically at his waist.
Yes.
And now we are totally in Rotting Potpourri, and Greg's hair is dragging in it because it's so long.
I wonder what conditioner he uses.
Rotting Potpourri. TM. It smells so...
like moldy roses.
Right.
That's funny.
So I just have to say, to start out Rotting Potpourri, I think my next Walking Dead tattoo is probably going to be, "You don't just hope, it takes more than that."
I'm surprised you don't have a JSS.
No, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I really like the JSS.
Yeah.
Enid's not my favorite character, but it was funny, and Carl found that the JSS justified somehow, and I think that...
And he was already bit, and that was so sad.
Yeah. And I think, I heard one of the, I forget who it was, but they said they see a lot of JSS tattoos, and a lot of people have said that, it's helped them through some dark times, and it's kept them going. So,
well, Thomas has one.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thomas has a lot of Walking Dead tattoos.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
What was the line you wanted to get?
You don't just hope, it takes more than that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So what do you have?
So do you remember the last episode? A lot of people are saying, and I noticed it too, and I think it was just a little bit of denial on my part, the moment where Carl gets bit.
Well, so I have to be really honest. I was going to ask you, when did it happen? And then I went back and watched that montage that I was telling you about last night. That was just a really nice montage of some of Carl's moments in the series. Mm-hmm. And they showed where it happened while he was rescuing Sadiq.
Right.
And I totally missed it.
I didn't. And it was also pointed out to me. So even if I had, I wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But I kind of thought that it was, I think I was in denial because of my whole, they're not going to kill him off. Yes, he's going to leave the show to go to college or do whatever, but they're not going to kill his character. He's going to leave, but he's going to come back because he's still alive in the comics, and he's such a big character in the comics, and he's got so much left to do, and they're going to let him get a little bit older, and they're going to bring him back. And so I think I was in a little bit of denial that he actually got bit. And it's not like they actually showed the bite, and there was just it was very wishy-washy for me, at least. And so, and then Carl's writing a letter to his dad, and then there's the flashbacks to him talking to his dad, and then he volunteers to die for Alexander, and you're like, nope, there was just so much there that it's like, oh my God, they're gonna kill Carl.
Yeah, I mean, it all made so much more sense with the second watch through once the reveal was there.
Right. So the scene that he got bit in, if you go onto Chandler Riggs's Twitter, he actually posts the two scenes. It's like him on the ground and his mouth is open, like in surprise, and then like he's grimacing in pain. Mm-hmm. There's two shots. And he trolled everyone on November 27th by posting those two images and saying, when you're craving a Chick-fil-A, but when you get there, it's closed because it's Sunday. So he actually posted the pictures of him getting bit
Mm-hmm.
and trolled everyone with it. So I thought that was funny that he's just so smart on his social media. So funny.
He's a bright and interesting fellow.
He is.
But yeah, I definitely had the, oh my God, okay, I can see it now.
Yeah. So, and then there was so much foreshadowing this episode. And I mean, I caught it on the event Nicole Brown on The Talking Dead was like, you have to go back and watch it. And there's so much pointing toward it. And it's like, I didn't have to rewatch it to see the foreshadowing because I was looking for it. And I think we've all kind of learned to do that, where if we know that they're going to kill somebody soon and they start focusing really intensely on one character.
Right,
you're
they
like,
get their standout episode. Yeah.
This is the last episode. So, of course, this isn't his last episode, but this is, he's getting there.
But it's where the reveal was made, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll probably never see the letter to Rick.
You don't think so?
It's probably lost in the shuffle, don't you think?
No. I think it's in his little bag that had all the smoke stuff. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that Rick gets it. I hope that we see it.
They didn't blow up Rick's house because Negan and Rick fought in the house, so maybe it's in the house.
And it was a callback to Porch Dick. When they crashed out the window.
Right. That's funny. So yeah, it might be in the house. So they may I really hope that Rick does get to see it. I hope we get to see it.
I do too. So I didn't bring up the title, which of course was How It's Gotta Be, but Carl says to Rick at the beginning of the show, "You're gonna live, Dad. You just have to figure out that you're fighting for something more than just killing other people." And then he's like, it's how it's gotta be. We've got to find something more. We've got to find something to move forward with. Yeah. And at that point, he was not bit. So I think it's really bit. So just that kind of foreshadowing too was pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I didn't catch that he wasn't bit at that time, and he was having that talk with his dad. That's interesting.
Yes, I'm flipping pages.
So, speaking of blowing up all of the homes in Alexandria, what was that? Like, of all the places that you level the place with like refrigeration and hot showers.
With the nicest homes, right?
Oh, like that. Those houses are nicer than my house currently, and those houses are post-apocalyptic. Like,
so that is kind of echoing some of the stuff in the comic book. There is a point at which a horde rampages through Alexandria, and Negan let them in. But maybe the people who live in that community are just sick of Walking Dead filming in their community. Because it is a big build and a big popular, like, upscale community. So maybe they're like, we're done. Peace out. It's been 3 seasons.
Right. But they didn't destroy all the homes. So, is that the intention? They're not going to go back to Alexandria. It's just going to be Hilltop and Kingdom from now on.
I don't know. It may be. I mean, it certainly seems like they're angling toward Kingdom as being Kingdom or Hilltop as being the center, and probably Hilltop at this point because of Maggie's stand.
Well, and the Saviors they're taking over Kingdom for now, or at least they think they are.
They think they are.
And they want to let Hilltop stand because that's their breadbasket, they said. So, yeah. Well, they may have not blown up all of the buildings in Alexandria. I think I think the Alexandria got bit by a walker too, because I think it's done for.
Did you see Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you see that they said on Talking Dead that the idea of putting the survivors in the sewer system was taken from the survivors of the Blitz in World War II being in the subway system in London?
Oh, I didn't. I missed that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Huh. I must have been getting up to get more wine or something. Um, so yeah, that's an interesting point that, yeah, they are filming in a neighborhood. So that could be the end of that because of that. And I don't know, I haven't seen how that plays out in the books, but you know that, a lot of things get exploded, but again, they didn't explode everything. So,
Well, I don't read it. I don't read super far ahead. I'm through All Out War, but now I have to be honest, I'm probably going to download another volume tonight and read it because oh my god.
that'll be interesting, continuing on in Hilltop and possibly Kingdom and or both. Yeah.
So, can we just talk a minute for a moment of levity? Thank God there was a moment of levity. I loved it when Rosita totally overloaded Tara with all of those cases. That was hilarious. What about that really heavy looking crate? Yeah.
Nope, I'm good. Got
it. And Rosita's carrying like one thing by the handle.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. That was funny. And my other moment of levity was, Negan talking to Carl. Like there was some funny parts, and then there was also some very serious parts.
Yeah.
Carl being like, "Is this who you want to be?"
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, so there was a lot of good dialogue there, and then the whole him fighting Rick, and Rick's like, "Do you ever shut up?" No. Yeah. So there's some actually pretty funny parts in the show tonight.
There were some good lines. There were some really good lines. I have to say that when the road was blocked and Simon comes out of the truck and is like, "Well, hello." I thought that was pretty funny too. I did think of you. Yeah, I sure did.
I think it's funny how we haven't really seen how the Saviors, the mechanic getting out of the compound. But, they are all really good at, like, the lieutenants are really good at taking their orders and, running with it. I mean, Negan's in Alexandria trying to get Rick, who's not there. And Gavin went to Kingdom and executed, his orders, pretty much to the letter until Ezekiel threw a wrench in that. And then Simon confronted Hilltop. I mean, you had each major lieutenant, or Negan, and then two lieutenants,
doing. We don't see
part.
Regina. We don't see her.
Right. And so you had perfectly executed. I mean, they really are good at what they do. I mean, they do horrible things, but they're very good at it.
Oh, what else? I like the way that Simon referred to the Walking Dead, the masses of the cold and impolite.
Cold and impolite. That is funny.
Oh, did you see? Are you getting the episodes of Red Machete with the download that you're doing?
I'm not. I think I've watched one of them.
So I've watched a little bit of it, but this one was really good because Jeff Korber, who played Joe from The Claimers, shows up at the very end of this episode of Red Machete and takes it from the walker's chest and says, "Claimed."
Oh, now I'm going to have to go look for it.
It was pretty cool.
That is cool. So, the Alexandrians being in the sewers. Don't the sewers continue out of Alexandria? I mean, that was...
I'm sure they must.
They got in and out.
I mean, I kind of got the feeling that Carl was going to go and run some commando mission as he was dying before Michonne caught him and stopped him. So he was going to get out via the sewer some way.
Right. So why are they all just sitting there underneath Alexandria?
I think they're kind of just gathering their resources at this point. And I'm assuming that as like no one would look at Rick and they looked all so exhausted and shell-shocked, I'm assuming that everyone else already knows that Carl's been bitten.
You think so?
I'm thinking that was the whole, like, we're not looking at you, we're not seeing you, we're not making eye contact. And so I think that they're all just shell-shocked right now.
Wow. Yeah, my initial reaction to Carl showing them the bite, of course, was like, don't be that guy who like gets bit and then just doesn't tell anyone, and then like 3 days later you turn. But again, he was probably just bit a few hours ago in the timeline of the show.
Right. In the timeline.
Like, yeah. So don't know how long he has left, but he revealed it.
Probably
of course,
45 minutes in the next episode.
Right. And of course, I think Sadiq knew that he had been bit.
I do too. I mean, Sadiq looked kind of shell-shocked and a little bit horrified.
Well, and then he said to Rick, "It happened because of me."
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is Rick going to take that?
Well, I think that eventually Rick may be, he may adopt Sadiq ultimately in a way of, my son sacrificed himself for you and now you're my responsibility. Because remember, Carl said that to Sadiq. Now you're my responsibility.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of wondering if maybe Rick won't come around to that.
Yeah, because of course Sadiq is kind of a big character. It becomes a big character in the books.
Not huge. Not unless there's more.
No, not huge.
But I mean, now we've lost a major character, and unless your bold prediction is right, which I'm sticking to that, I like that. Daryl taking Carl's role. Maybe Sadiq gets bigger in the show. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about
Eugene?
Eugene?
Do you think Daryl and Tara?
Go ahead.
Do you think that Daryl and Tara will get their revenge on Dwight?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think everything is just up in arms right now, and I don't know. People aren't as evil as we think they are, and people aren't as good as we think they are.
Right.
So
I would like to think that Daryl and Tara, well, they may be out for revenge right now. I think that I'm hoping that by the end of this war that they will be soured on killing Dwight. I think it'll just be like, just leave, dude. Take your wife and go.
Mm-hmm. So. I saw some energy between Dwight and Rosita too, and I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't be shipping this, but I'm totally shipping this in my head. I can see this.
Well, I think that she's looking for an out. I think she is like Andrea in season 2 when she
was
going to
take off with Shane.
Yeah. I really think that she's just kind of done with the group. That she's just, Eugene's betrayed everyone. Abe's gone.
Sasha's dead.
And the dude
Spencer.
Spencer, so I think she's just like, there's nothing left here for me after war. If I survive this, I'm gone.
But there's nothing anywhere else.
You don't know that, though. She doesn't know that.
I don't know. I think I would assume that.
There's a helicopter somewhere.
That's true. That is true.
There's a helicopter somewhere. So, yeah, we didn't talk much about Eugene.
Yeah, so he had, again, some really great lines where he was talking about the guard riding the porcelain bus, and catastrophically crapping his khakis. And then the whole, oops, I seem to have dropped the keys to a vehicle outside of the previously aforementioned North Side Gate. It was really easy to see kind of the agony that he is going through. He's clearly not happy. He thinks he may still think he's safer than he was, but he's clearly miserable. So, Eugene's going to die, and Eugene's going to die miserably and miserable, but it was sad to see him agonizing.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, he has already betrayed Alexandria and Rick and everything so many times, but yet he still feels the need to help, but he doesn't want to like screw up Negan's thing, and like on Talking Dead they mentioned that he was a little selfless because he wanted to get the doctor back to Hilltop for Maggie and blah blah. No, he was still doing that selfishly. He was only doing that because he couldn't sleep. Had he been able to sleep, I don't think he would have done what he did.
Do you think that the group would have taken him back? Because Eugene says, come with us. They'll still take you back.
Gabe says.
Or
Father
Gabe,
Gabriel.
sorry. Yeah, Gabe says.
I don't think so. I think Father Gabriel would have made a very compelling argument, but I think Rick is done with Eugene's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think so. I think, I think Rosita feels very betrayed. I'm sure Tara feels very betrayed because they were getting very close, there for a while. They kind of had the brother-sister relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that it's gone too far. He's done too much. And Sasha popping out of the casket, after he's like, I am Negan. And yeah, I don't think there's anything, even killing Negan, even if he like stood next to Negan and just knifed him in the back in front of him. I still don't think that would get him on everyone's good side.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive the war.
Yeah.
And the question is will he do something redemptive on his way out? And I'm not even sure about that.
I think he'll get Dr. Carson to Maggie. I think something's going to go wrong with Father Gabriel, and he's going to have to help.
Oh. Aren't you just full of the bold predictions tonight? Look at you.
It's all got to come together. Like, we've been spread out for so long. One thing I don't have a bold prediction about, the Heathsters. They ran again. I
know, but I do have to say that this was the first time that I actually liked Jadis. I was watching her being all bad with Rick and her hand signals and looking all tough, and I was like, okay, finally. And then no Heapsters.
Yeah, they just turned tail.
No help.
Run.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, are they? If they were just going to turn tail and run,
why did they bother coming in the first place?
Yeah, why did they bother agreeing? Why did Rick had a Winslow 2.0 and a gun not a gun. A weapon. Was it a gun? Yeah.
He was kind of holding the chomping zombie to Jadis's face.
Well, and I think he had a gun too. I think he got Jadis's gun. But after that, like once she's like, "Oh, sure, yeah, we'll join you." You could have totally. Why go through the motions of going to the Savior compound? Look, they're all gone. We're out of here.
They are still kind of They're the unknown. I mean, I would say they're definitely the unknown at this point.
Are they a sinister unknown, or are they just going to be benign from this point on?
I don't think they're going to be benign. I just don't know who they're going to end up shafting.
I loved it when she was, she said, like, not as pictured or something.
Yeah, different from picture.
Different from picture. I was just thinking of, like, a Craigslist ad, not as described.
That is hilarious.
Different from picture. I was like, oh my God. Oh, once you get used to her horrible speaking, it's kind of funny.
Oh, okay, we still have to watch a Pollyanna McIntosh movie.
You still have to. I've watched it.
You're like, that's an hour of my life I can't get back. That's 2 hours
2
of my
hours.
life I can't get back.
And actually, because they were movies, that's like 4 hours.
So I guess the last thing that I really wanted to bring up in Rotting Potpourri was just Ezekiel and Carol. And, they were talking about how everyone was going to be talking about this one big moment. And, of course, at that point, I still wasn't convinced that it was the moment that we got, which was Chandler Riggs pulling up his shirt. But I was thinking, maybe it's going to be Carol and Ezekiel finally locking lips. Maybe that's the great thing we're all going to... Oh, no, maybe not. Dang.
And then he shuts the door in her face.
Right. Save them as you saved me. I'm just really hoping that's not the end of Ezekiel, but I'm kind of worried that it's going to be.
I love that he used Shiva's chain.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of a nice little touch right there. Who was the letter from?
I was wondering if it was from Jerry.
The name I thought the name started with a D and ended with an S.
I couldn't see it that clearly, but it was kind of like, something, something, I gotta bounce.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, can you
Yeah.
hear
I hope that
all
you'll
of the
join us or
dogs
something.
singing?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
They're all
everybody, I'm
howling.
sorry. They're all howling.
Well, on one of the pods that we both listen to, that's a political one, Pundit was barking on the pod the other day.
Right. I actually felt really good. So Pundit was barking, and I thought, you know what? If Pundit can bark on a highly professional podcast, my howling dogs. Okay.
Yeah. And then I told you the one show that I watched with the two New York cops that do a podcast. They do
Right.
a YouTube on it. Their dogs were barking.
So there you go.
Dogs bark.
I'm gonna Google the note to Ezekiel and see if I can find it.
Okay, I swear to God, it said Jesus. Not Jesus. Jesus with a D, like the guy who was on Talking Dead a couple of weeks ago, who was griping about his Twitter mentions because people keep shipping Daryl and Jesus, and the relationship name is Jesus, and he's like, stop saying that, you're screwing up my Twitter mentions.
That is so funny.
So like, I'm like, okay, that was not signed by Jesus. That's just not a thing. He's not in this universe.
Okay, so I'm looking at an EW article, and it basically says about the about Carl, how did we get here? If you were paying attention to the clues sprinkled throughout the hour, you could have seen this coming.
Oh yeah.
The scavengers are once again proving that it is silly to rely on them for anything. I'm still skimming the article to see if I can find the mention of
Is
Ezekiel's
that Josh
note.
McDermott's EW article?
No, it's not McDermott's.
Okay.
It's written by somebody named Nick Romano, but I don't see it. Although apparently this author was also saying that he was expecting Ezekiel to die in this episode.
Well, I mean, if you're not a fan of the comics or you're not that far ahead, plug your ears. It happens in the books.
Oh! That was a spoiler you didn't need to share. Damn it.
Everyone dies in the books.
Right. You die, she dies, everyone dies, which is
just a matter of time.
Huh. I can't find the note. Oh, it is he's reading a note from Jerry, who tells him they had to leave for Alexandria to watch them win. And that's actually from skybound.com, which is Robert Kirkman's
Jerry
company.
has a funky signature.
Well, Jerry, bless his heart. The fact that he can write his name is a good thing.
I thought that was funny that Kari Payton on Talking Dead said that if he died and he kingdom to anybody, who would he leave it to? And of course, we're all expecting him to say Carol.
And he says Jerry.
And he says Jerry. Yep. I'm like, I don't know if Jerry's up for the task.
Did you see, by the way, that Cooper Andrews said he, in the slide down the ramp, actually ended up mooning the all of the filmmakers, like the first time that he went tumbling down the ramp? Poor dude.
And no need to apologize. I think I would be honored to be mooned by Jerry. like, love your body, no shame. We're all inclusive here.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's see. I had a note from Thomas O'Mara telling us a little bit more about the guy who directed last week.
Okay.
So of course now I'm like being a total dork and can't navigate through my Facebook because I'm a dork. Let's see. I worked with Larry Tang when he was a production assistant and then post-production supervisor for a TV show called Ed, a show about a lawyer that works out of a bowling alley starring Tom Cavanaugh and Julie Bowen. Long before he started directing a show called Medium. I was like, oh, yep, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And let's see, news in the world of capes and lunatics. It looks like you and I are going to be doing a live year-end hang out with Phil on the 30th at the end of this month. So that
Yep.
should be up both as a Capes and Lunatics podcast and on their Facebook page.
And we won't just be talking about Walking Dead. I think we'll be talking about like a bunch of stuff in
Yeah.
geekdom.
I think it's just going to be more of a hangout.
Yep.
Let's see. There was some conversation on biters, which of course now I can't find, right?
Well, we had some didn't we have an email from Rob?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so first, I was just going to acknowledge the people who responded to your post saying, no spoilers, but dang, that was a tough one. How are we all feeling? So Phil put up a really funny Dr. Evil GIF, so I'll let people take a look at that. I said I was feeling weepy. Dianne Lasora said she was sad, and she put a picture of a face crying.
Yeah, Phil Perch, he put up the Dr. Evil pouring out the 40, saying one for my homies.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And then let's see, we got a letter from someone named Gary via email. He emailed Southgate Media, so thank you, Gary. Hey everyone, a few thoughts on the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. First, you wonder if things would have went better if Daryl did not crash the sanctuary and the walkers that kept them inside. And I just want to stop. This is my take on that. I think there's some truth in that. I think this may be another thing that Daryl has to carry on his conscience now.
Yeah.
He's already carrying Glenn, and now he may be carrying this as well, because he repeatedly brought it up throughout the episode. And even Tara was like, no, we didn't do this. And even if we did, it was a mistake. We all make mistakes.
Well, yeah, and I really think that, looking back on it, the Saviors were less of a threat when they were just trapped inside.
Mm-hmm.
They were all going to start fighting amongst themselves for resources and not do anything about the zombies outside. But once inside, it was like, we have to do something. So I think it forced their hand early and could have turned out much better had the truck not smashed through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so very good point.
Very good point. Back to Gary's letter. Second, how did the Saviors have all those vehicles to use after they got out? You would think Rick's crew would have taken all of them and or disabled any they couldn't take, just in case. The Saviors would not have been half the threat if they'd been on foot. Another very good point.
It is. I think that Rick's group is a little overconfident about them being trapped inside. So
I was just going to say that. It goes back to us, our group getting cocky again. And every time they get cocky, something goes wrong.
Well, and I think somebody made the point in the show that they took the snipers' vehicles also. So there's a few cars there, but yeah, as far as like the moving truck and things like that they had, I think it was just overconfidence that they weren't going to get out to get to their vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
But you're on my zombie apocalypse team for thinking of that one. Hey, maybe we should take all their spark plugs.
There you go. Let's see. And then third, you have to think that Carl is somehow going to be used to defeat Negan in the next episode. And who knows, maybe they'll actually have Eugene surprise us and also play a part in Negan's defeat. If Carl defeats Negan, it would almost be like David beating Goliath. How fitting. Fourth. Sounds familiar.
Right. I'm vindicated in my theory.
Fourth, after Negan is finally defeated, you wonder what the next threat or next challenge will be for Rick's crew other than everyday watchers to walk out for. And remember, we still have not found out whose helicopter that was from the previous episode. Could that helicopter be connected to the next adventure after Negan's defeat? Looking forward to both Fear the Walking Dead as well as Return of the Walking Dead. Gary.
Aw, thanks,
So Gary, thank you so much for sending us your feedback. And I agree. I mean, I think that the helicopter reveal it's not throwaway. They are going to have to do something with that because they have teased us throughout now 8 seasons with different helicopter sightings. And I think this one is the real deal. I think that this may well relate to the next adventure.
And I really have to love this buildup of, the helicopter tease because are they good guys or are they bad guys?
Right.
You don't know at all. Because, what is a good guy at this point? What is a bad guy? You know,
Well, it's so true. I mean, even Carl says, as he's talking to Rick at the beginning of the show, basically, so they're bad because they're living life the way that you don't want to see them living. They're doing things that you don't want to see them do. There's got to be more to this than just killing each other.
Yep. Yep. And again, I mean, Negan gave the Alexandrians another shot. He was only going to kill one of them and Rick. Like everybody else could survive. He doesn't want to kill people. People are a resource.
Not individuals, but as a collective, yes.
Exactly. But, I mean, our good guys are still on we're going to kill them all. And the bad guys are like, maybe we can settle this somehow, So, I mean, like, if the helicopter guys turn out to be like, soldiers or something, we've seen time and time again in multiple zombie universes that, the soldiers aren't always good. They're people too. And, they're probably foraging for resources. And so they could turn out bad. Or, is it some former biker gang that has some Vietnam vet with pilot experience who just hotwired this helicopter, and you think they're bad guys, but they turn out to have a heart of gold. So,
oh God,
this could go anywhere, and I just love that we don't know.
And maybe that will be the big departure that makes it worth sticking with.
It all is worth sticking with.
And I was just going to finish that by saying, and I still love it regardless.
And I'm really happy to hear that Gary likes Fear the Walking Dead also.
Fear the Walking Dead, they're going to have to be worthy of Morgan, so they better get it together. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we wrap things up, I just want to say happy birthday, Mr. President. Tomorrow is Marnell's birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you going to be?
38.
Oh my God. We're so old.
So I don't even know how old I am, except for after the new year, I can add the 20 and the 18 together, and that's how old I am. Seriously, that is the only way that I can keep track of my age.
Oh my God, we're going back to the sports ball and the math things again.
Yeah. It doesn't work from between tomorrow and New Year's Eve, but after that, I can add the year together. And see, when it was before the 2000s, I could just drop the middle two digits, and so in 1998, I was 18.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah. So it's seriously the only way. If you don't celebrate a couple of birthdays here and there, you forget that you had them. And so you start telling people that you're younger. And I have absolutely no shame about being 38. It's scientifically proven that the more birthdays you have, the longer you live. So
really funny.
Eugene was the scientist that taught me that. Super sciencey. So I have no shame about being 2 years away from 40. But I don't intentionally tell people I'm younger than I am. I just forget how old I am.
I'm still 14. I may be wearing this old woman's body, but I'm still 14.
Oh, like Negan, you never grew up.
Right?
Yep.
I did get an intense compliment from my friends in Anchorage the other night. My old friend's new girlfriend, who was a new friend, said, You're a total geek. I love it. You podcast The Walking Dead. I got a Star Wars reference that no one else at the party got. I'm like, of course that's a Star Wars reference.
Well, and you found out tonight on your Facebook, your friends is a murderino.
Right, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. So I got to open one of my birthday gifts early to see if it fit from my other half.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, it better not be anything that I sent you. You better be opening that tomorrow, damn it.
It is a sweatshirt that says "Stay sexy, don't get murdered."
Oh, that's awesome!
Which, if you're a fan of my favorite murder podcast, which we've talked about on the show before, if you're a fan of that, you will totally get. They have a lot of funny sayings on the show. "Stay sexy, don't get murdered" is kind of their tagline.
You're gonna call your dad.
Yeah, I like that one. And don't park next to vans.
So I have to ask, did the sweatshirt fit okay? Because I was asked for sizing advice, and I was like, I'm terrible with the whole size thing.
It did. I mean, you always want your sweatshirts a little on the larger side rather than the smaller side, and especially here in Alaska, where it is normally freezing, but we are having record high temps here in Southeast.
Freezing rain on my way home the other night. Swear to God, it was like a white knuckle drive. It was terrifying.
Yeah, so we've had mudslides instead of avalanches. It is mid-December. It's like 59 degrees and torrentially raining. So
gross.
Yeah, it's not going to be a white Christmas. So yeah, I mean, usually we want to layer our sweatshirts, so it's a little large, but of course shrinkage and wash, and be able to put other layers underneath of it. So yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, so the other thing I was thinking is that we should do our end the way that Lovett does all of his ads.
Like,
it doesn't really,
really
so like,
quickly?
Right. Or like, repeating things halfway through. Like,
oh, yeah.
Just take it one dead day at a time.
One dead day at a time.
One dead day at a time. One day.
One dead. Oh, that's funny.
All right, everybody. So I'm not sure that we're going to be recording a lot between now and the 30th, but we are going to try to get Preacher finished up. I don't know why I'm so resistant. I don't know why.
Me either.
I don't know.
Me either. It's the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
All
Happy
right.
Hanukkah. Merry Yule. Happy solstice. Happy anniversary for Dianne and Nick.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you in
Soon.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Happy
Everybody.
Kwanzaa.
Everybody
Happy
have
holidays.
a great new year. Everybody just have I hope that the 2018 is kind, and we'll talk to you on the flip side.
Yeah, stay safe out there.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.